Man like Mark Sullivan, worry yourself. Stay tuned for the thrilling episode. Woo!
A positive mental attitude can clear away all obstacles which stand between you and your major purpose in life.
This is the Snowboard Project featuring Mark Sullivan and the Bead. The Snowboard Project. The Snowboard Project. The Snowboard Project.
Welcome back to the Snowboard Project. I'm Mark Sullivan.
And I am the Beav, and we are coming at you from our Snowboard Project studios right here in Ketchum, Idaho, with another episode for you with an interesting person. Who is it, Mark?
It's you, Beav.
Wait, we're interviewing me. Episode 66 is me?
Psych!
I thought for once maybe you might
interviewing... Hey, when you start a snowboard brand and you become one of the largest snowboarding brands in the world and you start making 50,000 snowboards a year...
Then you can interviews me?
Yeah, we'll interview you. Instead, though, we're going to interview Tracey Canaday, founder of Never Summer Snowboards today.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And Tracey and his brother Tim, they started Never Summer in the early 90s.
In shop class, right?
Well, they actually, I believe in the 80s, they were making boards called Swifts. And then they went out to California. They moved to California for a while, moved back to Colorado, and started the Never Summer brand.
All right. And Never Summer produces, how many boards a year?
Well, between boards and skis, they make skis for other people. They also were making Sims boards. So if you rode a Sims board in the past, a couple of years anyway.
No way.
It was made at Never Summer, but they're making about 50,000 units.
Wow.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
But you said it.
I did.
It's
real talk.
Okay, so they are a major player in snowboards and skis right now.
Yeah.
Started in a shop class, made in America. We should just roll into this.
Episode 66.
Tracey Canaday.
Well, today I am joined by Tracey Canaday, one of the founders anyway, co-founder of Never Summer Snowboards. And you have been in business making snowboards, manufacturing them for 28 years under going
on 28 years.
Yeah, under the Never Summer flag. Mm-hmm. But I understand that you actually have more experience than that, building and manufacturing snowboards. That wasn't your start.
Yeah, no, we started in the early 80s up in Fort Collins. Swift Snowboards, my buddy Scott Rolfs and I, and then my brother joined in and helped us with the molds. And yeah, so we did that from 1983 to 1986, building boards for the backcountry. Okay, so
now can you describe the construction of those boards compared to what you're doing today? Was it a modern construction with metal edges and P-Tex and the whole deal?
No, it was, the first boards we ever rode back in the early 80s were the Burton back hills. So it was just a horizontal lamb, piece of plywood basically cut out like a surfboard with water ski type bindings. And that's what we did. Baltic birch, plywood. Built probably one a week with bar clamps and wooden molds. And it was all backcountry, Burtons Pass, Loveland Pass type snowboarding back then.
So you were like, hey, if they can do this, so can we. That's not rocket science here.
No, they were easy to make.
Okay.
Yeah, much easier than now.
So then how did you get involved with actually Never Summer? How did Never Summer, what was the genesis of the brand and the idea to start a new manufacturer?
So in the mid-'80s, Tim and I, when we got done with Swift, he moved to Huntington Beach and I moved to San Diego and got into surfing a little bit and then started snowboarding in the late 80s up at Big Bear and Snow Summit and fell in love with snowboarding again.
Right.
And so decided to move back to Colorado and hooked up with a guy, Steve Link. Remember Steve Link?
Yeah, totally.
From Summit Snowboards.
Yeah, he was the guy in the James Bond movie.
That's right.
Kill, I think.
Yeah, he was like the first Damian Sanders before Damian Sanders. Right. He was a badass. And him and Tom Sims were the stunt doubles for James Bond.
Yeah.
And so we met Steve up in Summit County, and we shared his space up there. He had a little, 2,000 square foot garage. And Tim and I paid him, I think it was like $400 a month to use his presses and his equipment and tools to build. And we would order materials and test out new things. And so that's kind of how we got our start with Never Summer.
So describe what one of those very first Never Summer boards was like, and then the evolution to today as far as the construction and the manufacturing.
Well, they were beefy. I mean, I don't know if you remember those first Never Summers, but they had a bunch of rubber foil. They were very damp, and some people absolutely loved it, but they were pretty heavy. But one thing that we did, and Steve was using P-Tex for snowmobile skids, and he was using P-Tex for those, and we thought, hey, why not try this on sidewalls for snowboards? So we got the idea from Steve, and that was really the thing that made our boards stand out were the P-Tex sidewalls and how damp they were and how durable they were. Right. Some people referred to them as tanks, and they were heavy back in the day, but they lasted a long time and they rode great.
Right. I mean, when did you realize that you were building indestructible boards? I remember this ad with you guys back bending a board like outside the factory or whatever, like trying to basically break the board, and it wasn't breaking. I mean,
when we started getting, reorders, we didn't have a lot of accounts. The first accounts here in the States that we had were BC Surf and Sport here in Colorado, and the boardroom, Vince downstairs, owned the boardroom in Lakewood. There was a shop up in Vail called Cherry Pow. I don't know if you remember.
Pow, I don't.
They were owned by an Australian dude, Richard Wellsmore.
Okay.
And then a shop in Minnesota, Cal Surf.
Yeah, I know Cal Surf. I've been there.
Yeah.
Cool dudes. They're still there.
That's right. They're still there. Yeah, Scott and Cal Surf. So, but it just started to spread, and, we didn't have any high profile team riders to really help us out. So the one thing that helped Never Summer was them being very durable and riding differently than everything else out there at that time.
Right. You didn't have to hire anyone for the warranty department.
No. When
did you actually start a warranty department?
Very few. Now, our warranty department is still not working that much because we don't get many warranties at all. So
their Facebook is live.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like making the transition from sharing a shop with Steve Link, a guy who knew kind of how to build boards, and then going out on your own and then starting your own factory? What was that like?
Well, the first factory that we had in Denver after Steve's garage up in Summit County was a real small, 2,000 square foot little warehouse in kind of a strip, like a warehouse district, just east of here, a couple miles. And it was challenging, but we got lucky because that was when the demand for U.S. boards in Japan was just booming. You remember that back in 92, 93, 94.
Yeah.
We didn't even have to seek somebody out. We placed an ad in Snowboarder magazine, and all of a sudden we were getting hits from, Japan. The Agate Corporation was our first distributor. And, we went from building 200, 300 boards a year to 3,000 boards the next year because of Japan.
Was that tough? Going from a couple hundred boards to 3,000 from
it was, but
half a board a day to 10 boards a day.
But we didn't have much money, man. We started on a shoestring budget, so it was awesome because we got a wire transfer of $250,000 from the Agate Corporation to build snowboards for them, and so that was just a massive lump sum. And Tim and I fortunately didn't blow the money, and we spent it the right way, and we delivered good boards, and so that morphed into something pretty good for a couple years.
So you were able to basically buy all the materials you needed and get your kind of supply chain figured out.
And a few pieces of equipment that we needed too. Yeah, new presses and
Oh yeah, we need presses to build these boards too.
and pay rent.
Right.
So that really helped out a ton.
Right.
That was we were really lucky to have that big Japanese, market just exploding at the right time.
So that was kind of like your initial investor per se,
It
besides
was.
your sweat equity,
Exactly
your
right.
equity or whatever.
Exactly right. Yep.
Right. So how long did you have that distributor, and how long were you in that space for?
We had that distributor for about 4 years total, 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were in that space until I think 97, 98.
Okay.
And then we moved over onto Colorado Boulevard.
Right.
You remember that factory?
Yeah.
We were there.
I remember the early one too, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So we were there for a number of years, and it was a big facility, and it was cold, and it didn't have any, lighting. The lighting sucked.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that too.
So compared to this facility, it was tough.
So what were kind of some of the growing pains from, being comfortable making 3 to 5 or 10,000 boards? I don't know how many you were making at your apex there, but what was it like kind of making that transition and moving a factory with presses that weigh thousands of pounds?
Yeah, that was tough. So that factory was, if I remember correctly, I think it was 16,000 square feet, but it was pretty dirty. And so for us, when we started to do our own graphics I guess it's been about 10 years, we went back over to the original Denver factory and rented that to do our graphics because we needed someplace clean.
Right.
And so we were actually running 3 factories at the same time when we were moving into this one. So that was a huge challenge to coordinate all of that and to keep costs down. And so we've been in this factory since 2012. So for about a year, we had 3 factories because it took us about close to a year to get fully moved into this facility.
So where would you spend most of your time when you were making that transition?
At the old big factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the graphics facility. But, and then, we had a bunch of guys moving we would hire, a company to move all the heavy equipment. We don't want to mess with that, but, it took a long time, took a lot of money, and, but thank God we don't have to do that again.
Right. And so when I look at this new facility, it's well lit. It's bright. It's definitely night and day compared to the last one. But how did you guys come up with this kind of Henry Ford-esque assembly line where kind of the raw materials go in one end and at the other end, a fresh snowboard comes off the assembly line?
Well, we have a lot of experienced people here in the factory. We're going into our 28th year. We've got a handful of people that have been with the company over 20 years. Okay. So real experienced guys out on the line. So they've basically gone from somebody working at the facility to a manager, a supervisor that figures, more efficient ways to do things. So, I think it's just the experience. Having a lot of knowledge back there has really made things more productive and efficient.
Okay, so how many boards or skis or stuff do you turn out per day?
About 250 units a day.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have to do a combination of skis and snowboards because we build skis for 4 or 5 different brands, mostly real small brands. The biggest one is Icelandic Skis out of Golden, Colorado. They're a great partner.
Right. So, but you're a snowboarder at heart. Do you ski as well? Or?
No, I grew up skiing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved skiing. And then I started snowboarding when I was 18 in 1982.
Okay. So do you kind of chuckle when they hand you this big check for their production? You're like, you're paying snowboarders to make your skis.
No, you know what? It's a great, symbiotic relationship between them because Tim and I have no animosity towards skiing or skiers. That's where we started. We loved it when we were kids.
Right. Is there anyone in the industry that you do have animosity towards that has treated you unfairly or as kind of leveraged their businesses against you or anything like that, where it's created some kind of bad blood between Never Summer and the
no, I don't think so. Tim and I are really competitive. We don't know a lot of people in the industry. We never have. we were invited to industry conferences. Remember the Trans World industry conferences? We absolutely had no desire to go. I just, that doesn't sound fun to me to party with my competition. I want to crush them, And so it's like, I'm not going to single out anybody, but we just don't like, we don't like the competition. We want to make sure that we carve out our niche and we beat them. So that's just the nature of business.
Hey, folks, if you're out there listening to the Snowboard Project.
Boring. Nice pitch, dude. I think we've done that one a lot.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Come at it with a little harder. A little more creative.
Tell me to be creative?
Yeah, do it now.
Hey, folks.
Starts with hey, folks again. He hey, folks, you guys. He hey, folks, you. Yeah, he did.
All right.
All right, what do you got?
I don't have any ads. You do the ads, Beeb.
All right. If
I
you're
do the interviews, you do the ads. How about that?
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Beef here.
It's so much better than hey, folks. Not folks, guys.
Yeah.
It's so much. Such a.
It is really hard asking people to do really stupid things for you. Like, hey, could you just go rate and review our podcast?
Would you mind double knotting that shoe?
Would you mind just tying my shoe for me? Hey, if you're out there and you really want to help a couple snowboarders out, could you just come to Sun Valley and just tie our shoes? But an easier ask would be
Can you tie my boot for me, Beef?
An easier ask would be just to go to your iTunes, rate us, review us, help us. And Sullivan's over there crying because he's laughing so hard. Help us out here. We're just a couple snowboarders that want to make an awesome podcast for you. If you can go rate, review us, and hey, if you feel like donating to us, if you feel like giving us, a couple bucks, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Snowboard Project. You guys rule.
Yeah. So aside from being manufactured in America, what are the key points that differentiate Never Summer from other boards out there, aside from where they're actually physically made?
Well, the profile, the rocker camber profile, we're fully committed to that.
Yeah.
We feel that it's, the most versatile profile, the most fun profile out there. So we're not going to deviate from that. I would say the durability, the limited distribution is really important. We certainly don't sell as many snowboards as Burton, but within specialty shops in the country, we're number one.
Right.
And so, we provide shops with great snowboards that they can sell and they can make a lot of money. And we provide, the end consumer with great snowboards. And so we don't have to be everything to everybody. We don't want to be the biggest. We just want to be the best, and we want to, focus on quality.
So you mentioned that you're number one in specialty retail, but you're not the largest volume manufacturer. How did you come up with the strategy to kind of target these specialty retailers instead of going to the Evos, the houses, and maybe you're distributing?
Well, we sell to Evo Gear.
Okay.
Yeah, we're number one in Evo Gear.
Okay.
They're a great partner as well.
Okay.
But, it started back when we just didn't have the capacity. I mean, we were only building, 5,000 boards, a year back, a long time ago. So we were just selling to specialty shops, like BC Surf and Sport, like the Boardroom. And then, we would get hit up by at the time, I think it was called Gart Sports or Colorado Ski and Golf, and they wanted to carry Never Summer. And we didn't have anything against those guys, but we just felt that if we sold to them, then that would put a ton of pressure on Vince at the Boardroom and Dave and Tom at BC. And so we decided to not go that route. We don't want to sell to everybody. We want to protect the smaller shops or the specialty shops from the big discounters. Like I said, we don't have anything against them. It's just we don't want to saturate the market.
Right. Okay. So do you still limit your distribution? Are you still trying to open new doors? Are you trying to make sure that the doors that you are opening are the right doors? I mean, how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's tough. We still limit our distribution. And, we try to, now backcountry.com sells our stuff, but that, I think is one of the few companies that's just an online presence, not a brick and mortar. But no, we limit it. Sometimes if we get an order, believe it or not, and you can ask Gags, you've already talked to him, but some shops that will put in a huge order and it's a huge increase from the year before, we'll talk them back down and say, look, I don't think that's realistic, because we want good sell-through. Yeah. We don't want them to have to, discount them, a deep discount at the end of the year because they made a mistake in ordering.
Yeah. Do you find that you sell through at retail pretty much everything?
Yeah.
Or is there, like, at the end of the season a few leftovers?
Very few leftovers.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you look in the finished goods room, we have, I think, fewer than 1,000 units right now, and it's not even. It
seems like a lot to the layman.
Yeah, but it went, out of close to 50,000 units, it's not that big a deal.
Right. So what's like the biggest challenge about managing 50,000 products that are manufactured here? What are the big challenges of that?
Well, when you have a lot of employees, it's keeping everybody relatively happy. We've got close to 80 employees. And so we just want to make sure we can provide a good environment for them and growth opportunities. And so I think that's probably the biggest challenge. We're not deviating too far away from what we've been doing for the last, 20, 25 years as far as how we build snowboards. Okay. Right. They're built with the same materials for the most part. Now we've added some, carbon, and we've, upgraded certain things, fiberglass and whatnot. But for the most part, they're built, to last, and they're built to perform. But the challenges are, when you decide that you're going to build something here in the States, you just have higher costs.
Right. So the materials are more, the labor is more.
Well, the materials aren't that much more. I mean, a lot of the materials come from overseas, unfortunately. Okay. There's not as many raw material suppliers here in the United States as there used to be. But the labor is a lot more expensive here in Denver, especially Denver. I mean, it's a dynamic economy. It's growing. You can't hire people for $10 an hour and have them stay. They won't.
So, how do you make that an advantage, like making boards here versus like someone in China who pays $2 an hour? I mean, how do you make that work?
Well, the advantage is that Tim and I and our crew can control quality start to finish, number one. And number two, we can control when we ship. Okay, we control everything here. So on paper, it may look awesome to have, your costs, your unit price, way down. But if you can't get it shipped on time, then it doesn't matter. I mean, ask Capita, ask Burton. It's very difficult, right? I think they're having from what the shops tell me, they're having difficulty shipping on time this year. Well, we don't have that problem generally.
Yeah. So have you had that problem in the past, and how did you resolve it?
Last year we had a little bit of we had a spike in growth, and so we had a little bit of difficulty. But we were not more than 3 weeks late, maybe a month. So it wasn't that big a deal. But we can control, hey, let's put in some more OT.
We're going to drive to buy the wood for the course.
That's exactly right.
In Washington or whatever.
You just have to make it work because we control it here. But if it was done, in China, and there's nothing wrong with things being made in China, but if I can't control it, then I got to cross my fingers and hope that it gets done and hope it gets shipped. Right. When they say it's going to ship, and it's just nice to have the control.
So you also work with vendors. Who comes first, Never Summer or the vendors?
That's always tough.
that's a dirty question mark.
Tough. Well, we've never missed a payroll, right? So
that's the big success.
The employees come first, and then sometimes you have to beg and plead with the vendors that, hey, I promise I'll get that check in the mail. But it's generally not been a huge issue. But the employees come first. I mean, obviously, when you've got this many employees building this many, snowboards, they're top priority.
Right. Okay. So why were you never tempted to manufacture overseas? About 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, there was this big push where all these factories that were located in different parts of America kind of ship their presses overseas and set up factories in Asia?
I don't know. Maybe it's just Tim and I have always been into building things. When we were kids, we always built big, elaborate forts. And my dad built a nice big barn, and he always had tools and, and materials and wood that we could use to build a variety of things. So I think it's just something that Tim and I really enjoy doing. And why outsource it if you can kind of figure out a way? And we like the challenge.
Yeah. So do you guys build like crazy prototypes just on the weekends or whatever? Do you experimenting?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Stuff? And what's nice about it is Tim will come up with, Tim, my brother, who, is the lead engineer and designer. He'll come up with some ideas and we'll just get them on the snow, that afternoon, and we'll get feedback. And if it sucks, then we'll make some tweaks and changes. And so it's nice to have, Loveland Ski, 50 minutes away from here, to be able to get up on the snow and test new things.
Right. So, so you're testing different kind of prototypes. How long does it take from the time you have an idea to actually making the first prototype to actually putting it into production?
A couple days.
Really?
Yeah.
So
to put it into production?
Yeah.
Oh no, from idea to prototype a couple days, but to put it into production, no, it's going to take a little bit more than that.
Right.
We want to get a variety of people on the, on the prototype to make sure that we're not jumping the gun. And I would say probably at least a month, maybe.
Okay.
And it depends on what time of year, obviously.
So what's the process like of designing a new snowboard from a blank sheet of paper?
It's probably a better question for my brother, but there's a snowboard design is a variety of things. It's a camber profile, and it's a wood flex profile, and it's side cut geometry. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then the types of materials that you're using, if you're using, more or less carbon, more or less pre-cured, pre-tensioned fiberglass versus a wet cloth fiberglass. There's a lot of variables for sure.
Right. So how long does it spend in the computer before it goes to the factory floor?
God, man, I don't know. Hey, Tim, how long does that take? Well, it takes a while. I would say it takes probably a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And are you redesigning the existing boards that are in the line, or do you have kind of like certain shapes that have lasted the test of time, or is it constantly tinkering on the things that exist?
Constant tinkering. There's a couple of models like the Snow Trooper is basically the old SL that's been tweaked a bit, and the SL was one of our best sellers, and it's always been our best seller, or it was back in the, I guess, early 2000s, mid 2000s. But we like to take what's working from a model, and if we think we can tweak flex or the shape a little bit, then we'll do that, and it will be morphed into a new model.
Okay. So which board do you ride in the line, and why?
The Proto.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Proto's probably my favorite board. It's just versatile.
Yeah.
It's versatile. Yeah, it does everything. And
for all your jibbing needs.
Right. No, another board I really like is the Swift.
Yeah.
The Swift is a great board.
Yeah,
it carves well.
Yeah,
it's fun. So
cool.
It could carve. It can ride backcountry. It's a real versatile board as well.
Right. So how many boards in the line right now, and then how many boards will change for next year? Like how many new introductions?
I think there's tweaks? About 15 snowboards now in the lineup. And we've got some new wider boards for guys with big feet, like 13, 14 foot. So generally, if we're going to add new models, we like to subtract out models because we don't want to make it. We just don't want to make it too confusing for the end consumer or for the dealers. I think that you can obviously have too many freestyle boards or too many free ride boards where it just makes the decision making for the shops or for the end consumer difficult.
Right. I mean, I would say Burton probably has 150 to 200 different models, sizes, shapes.
That's
in their
crazy.
Line.
I mean, that's
and it's
crazy.
like there's no shop in the country that can carry that, aside from maybe backcountry or the house. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not what we're interested in. I think that when we came out with the rocker camber profile, we committed, and then when we saw some other companies start to have all these different profiles, in my opinion, I think it just makes it more difficult for the end consumer or the dealer to know what your company stands behind.
Right.
And so that's been one of the reasons why we're just going to further develop, different profiles within our rocker camber overall profile. But we want to have a simple message.
Hey, Beeve.
Oh, what's up there, Sully?
I just wanted to tell you about Editorial in advertising free media.
We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, pretty much since the beginning of the Snowboard project.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the foundation of what we've been working off of, right?
Yeah, and so basically we've been trying to keep the advertising and the editorial separated at the Snowboard project.
Now, advertising as in like advertising sponsorship, right? We throw our little things in the mix.
Yeah, and so basically what we're looking for are our listeners to support us with $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month to support advertising-free snowboarding media. And what that means is that our voice will not be affected by brands, by advertising, and we'll just have an independent voice tell you exactly what we think.
Now, it is possible that we could take like some non-endemic sponsorship, or are we talking like in the snowboard realm?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that we use the support of our listeners to basically fund the Snowboard project and keep our voice independent and not really influenced by any kind of moneyed interest whatsoever.
So we basically need to rely on our listeners.
Yes.
To go to patreon.com/the Snowboard project and be willing to buy us a beer.
Yeah.
Or 2 beers, or maybe a case of beer.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be awesome. Patreon.com/the
Snowboard project. So, I mean, you're made in America. You have a rocker camber profile. What else, are the things that kind of Never Summer hangs its hat on as a brand?
God, I guess that's it. Simplicity. I mean, when you buy a Never Summer, it's going to be probably the most versatile board you've ever ridden. And I think most people out there that buy a board, let's say in September, October, when they're just getting excited about the snow season, they want one board that can do everything well.
Right.
Okay, and that's what Never Summer stands for. That's what that profile stands for. It's nice versatility, being able to perform well in all conditions and being able to hold up. I mean, when you're spending between $500 and $600 a board, you want to make sure that it's going to last you at least 3-4 seasons, and it's going to ride the same, 100 days in as it did when you first got it.
So what is your opinion on like this trend right now of like quiver boards or like crazy powder boards or just crazy shape boards or whatever? What's your take on that?
I think it's kind of cool, definitely. And we have, interesting shapes like the Swift, but like I said before, the Swift carves well too. So I think it's good for the sport for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think it's good for what we do. We like to have a simple message and a real versatile board, whether you're riding the Proto or you're riding the Swift. It's got to be able to perform well in all conditions. So, but I think having cool shapes, different shapes, split boards, obviously, I think it's very good for the industry for sure. So
like in a blind ride test, would you be able to tell which board is a Never Summer under your foot compared to a board made in China? I mean, not like just a Burton versus a Nitro versus if you had all those boards blank, overall, could you know exactly what you're riding? I think so, because our boards typically ride a little bit more smooth because of the dampening and because of the P-Tech sidewall. The P-Tech sidewall adds a level of dampness. I think Ride has what's called the slime walls. Yeah, and that ride's similar, but no, I think there's a clear, distinctive ride with Never Summer. Right. For sure. Yeah. So what would it take for you to kind of, I don't know, look at the way your board's designed and change one of those major components or those parts of your board and be like, okay, well, we're going to now add carbon fiber Titanol or we're going to do a urethane sidewall, or what would like instigate or bring about a major change?
I think if there's enough feedback out there from either some of our team riders or some of our shops, we have a lot of shops that give us valuable feedback on what we're doing well and what we're not doing, and so what we're not doing well, and we'll make tweaks. But it's usually the feedback that we get from them.
Right. So how do you collect that feedback? Is it just through reps, kind of a game of telephone to get the feedback?
Telephone, number one. Emails to some shops, or we'll have roundtables too, where we'll bring in a variety of shops, and we'll try and bring in either the owners or the managers or buyers that come in and give us honest feedback on what's important. And what blew me away with specialty shops, we did this a couple years ago, is they talked about how important it was for them to sell Never Summer as a U.S. made brand because it's so unique now. I mean, think about it, with of any volume, there's really only two factories left, right? There's us and Mervyn.
You're right.
That's it. And now there's some smaller outfits, I think. I guess Weston is built overseas now, but there are some smaller outfits, but it's just becoming more and more rare.
Right.
But with the shops, when they have a product mix in their shops, they want to have something that's unique with each brand. And if the first thing they can say about Never Summer is, oh yeah, they're made here in the United States, they're made to last, they've got the rocker camber profile, then it just makes it easier for that shop to distinguish a Never Summer from some of the other snowboard brands that they have to sell.
Right. So, okay. So, obviously you have a competitive advantage. The success is in the 50,000 units going out the door every year. Did you ever envision that like this is where you would be 25, 28 years ago when you started this? I mean, did you kind of have this outline in your head of this is where this is going?
Well, I mean, obviously we wanted to get to this point, and I guess so. It's taken a bit longer, you know, and we've obviously, had a few hurdles here and there, but that's just, I guess, normal with business. But no, we're real proud of what we've done, and we have some exciting things in the future that we're working on, and so I just love the fact that we're able to compete and we're able to be a brand that the end consumer and dealers really love to come to.
Right. So what are some of those hurdles that people might not expect that you would have as a brand or manufacturer?
Well, with manufacturing, when it's real labor intensive, and manufacturing is kind of a low margin business anyway, so cash flow needs are critical, right? If you're trying to keep 80 plus employees, at full capacity every day, there's a lot of coordination, right? If you have 30 pieces of material, the individual pieces of material that go into a snowboard, and you have 29 of them, and you don't have the 30th, then you can't start production, right? Right. So you have to have everything coordinated. You don't want to have too much raw material inventoried, because then it's a lot of money that's on your shelf. So there's just a ton of coordination with cash flow, and but when your boards sell, that's the key. Right. Obviously, I mean, we've been in business for 28 years. We've kind of done this without any real high profile team riders. So we've done it because the product is a great, unique product. We have great riders like Chris Corning and Dylan Alito and Sam Klein and Nick Larson, and those guys have helped us a ton. But it's primarily a snowboard product driven company.
Right. So, this team, those are like homegrown riders. So you never went out and correct. Stole a rider from Forum.
Never. No. A good example is Chris Corning. I've got a picture. He's 9 years old, standing by me, riding a custom board that Tim built for him, and then all of a sudden he's in the Olympics and he's leading the World Cup in points for Big Air now, and so he's totally homegrown from Colorado. Right. He absolutely loves our snowboards, and Dylan as well. Dylan used to ride for us years ago, and Sam is relatively new from California, or from Wisconsin, and No, he's a good rider as well.
Did you get pressure from like your shops or whatever to be like, oh, you should have so-and-so on your team, or you should
a long time ago?
Yeah,
we used to get that, but we don't get that as much because they're they sell Never Summers and they sell them at pretty much full margin, so they're making a lot of money with Never Summer snowboards. So I think they understand that we have a pretty good unique recipe.
Mm-hmm. Now, does your personal recipe in the business include being a master of spreadsheets? Is that your number one task?
No, man, I'm unorganized as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I have people that help me out. Yeah, I'm more of an idea guy, but I'm not the most organized.
Okay. So how do you keep control of having all the edges ready, having the cash flow ready, having the...
We have great managers and great supervisors, that have been with us and trust Tim and I's vision of Never Summer.
So there's a kid out there who's like graduating from college, like, man, I just want to be involved in the snowboard industry. What would you tell that kid? What advice would you have for him to kind of follow his dreams to be in snowboarding?
Yeah, so they need to start out as an intern. We do interns. We do quite a few in the year. In fact, our plant manager now, Jared White, he was an intern years ago.
Okay.
And now he's making great money, and he's got a lot of responsibility. He loves what he does, and he's got a bright future for sure. So the best way to get into it is and unfortunately, there's not a lot of factories like we talked about here in the States. So
you better live in Denver.
That's right. So give us a call if you're interested in an internship. We'd love to have you stop by and help us out.
How many of the people out of those 80 employees are snowboarders? Like actual active riders?
I would say probably 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a little box you have to check on your job application?
But here's the deal. Like, I think part of our compensation is a free pass, right?
Yeah.
And free snowboards. And so I think that the kids that last the longest, snowboarding is important to them, right? Because if you're not a snowboarder, but part of your compensation package is a snowboard or a pass, then, that's not really going to help them out that much.
Right.
So I think it's just natural attrition that, snowboarders will stay here because they like the family. We have the pizza parties and whatnot about every 3-4 weeks, I think, and we have other group deals that we do.
Okay, so do you have like a day? Which pass do you give your employees?
It's a Loveland Pass.
A Loveland Pass. Yep. So do you ever have like days where it's like, oh, there's 50 people from Never Summer riding right now? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, there's probably more than that because there's Loveland's pretty popular now, and so a lot of people from Denver go up there. So, but I'm sure that they have that same thing at Stowe with Burton, right?
Yeah, I think something similar to that anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So now looking back on like this long and now successful career, were there any times in that career where you're like, oh man, I'm not sure if this is going to work? Is this going to like go belly up? Am I going to be able to make payroll next month, or how is this going to even happen?
Oh, I mean, yeah, you have challenges like that all the time, but I've never really thought of giving up. I mean, the key is having growth every year. I mean, that's really helped. I can't imagine going backwards. I don't know. That would definitely make me think about, the future and, what we need to do. But we've never had that. We've always grown a little bit, whether it's, 1% or 20%. We grow every year because we've had this slow, calculated plan, And so I don't anticipate going backwards. Tim and I don't give up. So if there's other things that we have to manufacture, we're good at building things. And so we're going to continue.
Okay, folks, this is going to be a little bit serious. That was a pretty serious. I'm dead serious about this next ad here. Yeah. I don't know if this is an ad or what, but here's the thing. A buddy of mine, J2, he was a pro rider in the 90s. I've known him since 1991. He worked with me on Snowboard Mag. When we started Snowboard Mag, he worked in the photo department there. And right now, he is suffering from cancer. And so it's really a bummer, Beav. It's like when a friend of yours has cancer. I've had a few friends who've had cancer. I've had a few friends die of cancer now.
Sure.
And I think most people in the world have
had cancer affect their life in some way or another.
Absolutely.
Well, J2 was a pro rider, and he is a guy who basically just followed his dreams as a snowboarder. Well, he needs our help, Beav.
Yeah, how can we help him?
Okay, so he's got a GoFundMe page. He's trying to get some stem cell treatments, and he's got to go actually overseas for that, but there's a GoFundMe page set up right now for J2, and just let's go to GoFundMe, look up J2. His name is Jason Rasmus, but if you look up J2, it'll be the top result, and I believe he's about $12,000 of the $15,000 goal that will help him get the treatment that he needs to hopefully survive. I mean, seriously, stem cell research is one of the most promising new forms of medicine.
Sure.
And man, I've donated. I've asked people to donate. I've shared it on Facebook. Share that thing. Donate $5, $1, whatever, please. J2 has contributed a lot for the sport, so hopefully the sport can give enough back to J2 so he can get some medical treatment. Right. Is that a teardrop trailer right there?
It's not a teardrop, but it's something that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Egg drop?
That's right. Egg drop. That's right. Now it's going to be like,
okay.
No, we're pretty excited about that, man. It's going to be
is that going to take over the factory floor here soon?
At night.
Oh yeah,
man. Night shift.
Oh, really?
That's
okay.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
It's like, who wants a bonus this month?
That's
Stay
right.
late and help me with my trailer.
A little retro trailer that you can pull behind with the Subaru. Yeah.
Okay. And then the dirt bikes go where?
Yeah, I don't know if a dirt bike would fit on that, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're passionate also about dirt biking, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how did you get into that, and how did you split your time between snowboarding and dirt biking?
Well, I mean, actually, dirt biking, believe it or not, I'm 54 years old, and dirt biking is actually a little bit easier on I've got kind of a bum right knee. And so you've got suspension on a dirt bike, right? So it helps my knees. Unfortunately, I had a pretty bad get off back in late October, and I was in the hospital with broken ribs and collapsed lung and whatnot. So I'm taking a little breather right now.
It's only softer until you get
That's
off.
exactly right.
It's
Well,
harder.
I try and do that about once every 2-3 years.
Okay.
But no, I love motocross, and it's just it's a good complement to snowboarding for sure.
How does that cross over? Like, where is the crossover between motocross
jumps
and
snowboarding? And just picking a line and just kind of going for it. And,
competitiveness.
It's fun taking a little risk, and but it's beautiful. And my favorite track is up in Leadville, and it's up in the mountains and the pine trees with views of Mount Massive and Mount Elbert. And Jeff up there at the Leadville track has made an incredible,
you must have
incredible deal. So
you must have a bike with fuel injection.
No, it's
you have to rejet.
Two-stroke, 252 stroke carbureted. Yeah.
Really? Do you rejet for Leadville?
Well, dude, I don't go fast enough to worry about. I'm 54. Come on. No, but it's plenty fast for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, what other kinds of things are you doing besides dirt biking, snowboarding?
I enjoy fly fishing with my kids. I have 3 young kids, and we really like hiking up into high mountain lakes, especially up by Leadville, because we do a lot of dirt biking up there. And so we go up to Independence Pass, and we'll hike into these high mountain lakes and catch cutthroats and brook trout, and so teaching my young kids how to fly fish it was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the valuable lessons that you've taught yourself along the way? I mean, clearly you're kind of living life on your own terms now with successful business. What are some of the lessons that kind of got you to this point? That are the
perseverance.
most
yeah. Don't burn bridges. Don't give up. Business is very difficult, but at the same time, if you can just kind of keep a clear head and just keep a clear vision for the ultimate goal, and be competitive. Don't be scared of competition. I mean, it's fun, and sometimes my kids wrestle, and it's, as a parent, it's tough to go and watch a wrestling match, right? They're just out there by themselves, and you tell them, hey, you're going to get pinned maybe this match, but the next one you may pin them, and so you just don't give up. You got to have an eye for the end game, right?
Right.
So
what is the end game for Never Summer?
We want to dominate.
Right. Okay.
we want to do our part to just, make sure there's as many people worldwide riding Never Summer as possible. I don't know what that means other than I just want to see a little bit of growth each year. That's all I care about.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Never Summer is the kind of business that has an exit strategy.
Yeah, no, we don't have an exit strategy.
Right. It's like, hey, you can bury me. That's my exit strategy.
Yeah. No, we love building things. And man, we have so many passionate people here at the factory. I want to make sure that they, can reach their goals and dreams as well. Hopefully we can be a part of that.
So what if like some big conglomerate, let's say Burton came along and like, we're going to offer you and your brother $100 million
well,
each.
Obviously, $100 million, I would be gone. I would shut this mic down right now, right? Come on.
I don't have it. Don't worry. It's not me. I ain't the one with the briefcase full of $100 bills.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Okay.
But, $100 million is a lot.
Okay. Okay. Let's say, I don't know, 10 million. I don't know what this place is even worth.
No, not 10 million.
No, okay. Just enough where you're like, your kids are set for life, you're set for life, everyone's set, and your employees get a big bonus.
There you go. Yeah, it's got to be a pretty big check, but no, we really enjoy what we do, so I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Okay, would you do anything differently? Last question. Would you do anything differently looking back with hindsight?
Yeah, I probably would have finished college. Yeah.
You didn't finish?
No, I didn't finish.
Okay.
No.
What were you going for?
Econ.
Econ, okay.
Yeah, and then I met some friends that lived in San Diego, and I moved to San Diego, and yeah.
Who was a better surfer, you or your brother?
Oh, I was probably better. He's a better snowboarder. I was a better surfer, though.
Okay, who's the better snowboarder today?
Tim.
Okay, who is faster around the dirt bike track?
Well, dude, me.
Okay. Who catches bigger fish?
Well, me, because I fish more.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's handy with a shotgun. So
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So you got to watch your mouth a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's my Dick Cheney.
Yeah, that's right.
Right on. So, any advice? Anything you want to finish with? Anything you want to tell people about Never Summer that we didn't touch on? Anything that to make them go buy a Never Summer board now?
No. So here's what we're really proud of. And Gags, you interviewed Gags a few weeks back. Yeah. So Gags was instrumental way back in the day getting Never Summer at ski areas for demos. Mm-hmm. Okay, so letting the public ride Never Summer snowboards.
Right.
And so we've been doing it for years and years, probably 25 years now, demos. And I think we probably, I think we do the most demos of any company in the country.
Really?
Yeah, we do close to 200 demo dates a year.
Huh.
Yeah. So
is that through specialty retailers? Just the
no. We show up. We've got multiple demo trucks that show up at the ski areas, mostly in February and March. Okay, when the snow's soft, the sun's nice, and set up a tent and let people test drive a Never Summer snowboard.
Right.
Okay. So that's really our claim to fame. We want to continue to do that. In my opinion, that's the most important thing in marketing is to let somebody try your stuff.
Right.
Because I can talk until I'm blue in the face about how great our boards are. But if you don't like it when you ride it, you're not going to buy it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have that list online or somewhere?
It's online.
It's
online.
And
it's updated constantly. Yeah. Right. It's not, we don't have all the dates yet because a lot of the dates are in February and March when, like I said, when
so you just check in on the website, and they'll be in every region, like New England and Southeast, even everywhere.
Yep.
Cool.
Now, most of our demos are here in the Rocky Mountain region, but we're doing a better job, and we do demos worldwide too. We do them in Europe as well, but we do a lot of demos. East Coast. We want to do a little bit more of the Midwest. But Rocky Mountain region and West Coast, we do a ton.
Cool. So go try yourself a Never Summer snowboard before you buy it. You can go try it.
Yeah, that's right.
Right on.
That's right.
That's
and if for whatever reason you don't like it, then let us know. Let us know what we can do to make it better.
Tracy's kids will wrestle you to the mat.
That's right.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. I appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
On behalf of Mark Sullivan and the Beeve, thanks for listening to the Snowboard Project. Remember, ride fast, take chances, dream big, and take action. And for God's sake, don't be a... Don't forget to support advertising-free snowboarding media at patreon.com. The Snowboard Project. The Snowboard Project. The Snowboard Project.